Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome in to a Saturday afternoon edition of Snaps.
Dude,
Time of this
uh,
recording, there's about 7.5
uh,
minutes
uh, uh,
left in the second playoff game between SMU and Penn State. And this is one that, we all chose Penn State to cover, right? Like everybody said
yes.
this was not going to be a great game, but in the context of last night, now into today, not only was it
Mm.
not a great game, but now it has caused much deeper conversations to have begun to take place. I'm TBob Baber. He's Aaron Murray. This snaps. Aaron, what's up, dude? How you doing today?
Man, I'm just in a really bad place because I love the 12-team playoff. I'm excited for what's going to happen going forward. I do think it's going to be better. It's been more exciting. It made the regular season better, because I've seen a lot of people today saying, "Oh, there's only 4 good teams in college football. This is every year. You all knew that. This should only be 4 teams." It made the regular season better. Okay, so I do appreciate that for what the 12-team playoff gave us. So that's the first point. And two, going back to even what we talked about last night, it was just a really shitty situation. I mean, I'll say it over and over again. A 3-loss team has no excuse in my mind of bitching and moaning right now. And Lane Kiffin is tweeting up like crazy right now saying, committee, good job making these games interesting, whatever, blah, blah. You lost 3 games. You lost to Kentucky at home. Okay. So Alabama, you lost to Oklahoma. South Carolina, you got blown out by Ole Miss in your home stadium. You lost to Alabama, and then you gave one away to LSU. So all these teams and all these SEC fans, and you're not SEC guys, you had your opportunities. You should have been in these. One of you 3 should have been in the playoffs ahead of SMU or last night, and you didn't get the job done. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, before we go too far into the playoff conversation, let's talk about the game itself. SMU came out early on, kind of like last night, a little bit of life early on that was immediately snuffed out. Where SMU comes in and I think they forced Penn State 3 and out, wasn't it, off the bat? They stopped them
Yeah.
from picking up that 3rd and 3 and out. They get the ball back. They come up with a big pass interference. They're driving the ball. It's 4th and 1. They decide to go for it. And you're like, okay, hell yeah. And it's Aaron, a lot of times in football, we talk about a play call and whether a play call is good or not, right? And a lot of times we just use the result to make that determination. And that's not, I see why, I get that. But sometimes as a coach, you would ideally want to look at, well, do I think this was a good call regardless of what happened? And that's an example of a great play call where the execution just failed you because they ran that great naked bootleg where Jennings has the first down and the touchdown and comes up with neither, right? He could have run it for the first down, or if he committed to throwing early, he had a wide open touchdown. He did neither, throws it behind the receiver, big hit from the safety, and all of a sudden you turn it over on downs. And your defense, actually, SMU's defense was fine early on, but then Jennings just completely fell apart. I mean,
You
completely
can't
fell
you
apart
can't
in the face
two
of Penn
pick
State.
sixes.
Yeah.
2 pick sixes, and the environment was badass though. Like
Yes.
Penn State, for them saying that whatever the stat was, I forgot what it was. SMU has 30,000 people in their stands, and you go to Penn State where there was snow on the ground in the morning, to 100,000+ people wide out at noon. Like that place was wrong. And I thought ESPN/TNT did a really good job of pumping the crowd noise. Like you felt the crowd noise in that game. Because there's certain games you watch where you can control from a director standpoint how much crowd noise you want into the actual broadcast. I thought they did a really good job as a viewer of me feeling the environment and just how difficult it was going to be for Kevin Jennings. And once you start making mistakes like that, it reminded me a lot of going to South Carolina my junior year, and I made a couple mistakes early, and then the crowd just felt like it suffocated you. And there was no way in hell you're going to get out. You were not going a way to get out of that hole. And this was a game where Kevin Jennings fell into a hole, and there was no way he was getting out.
I know I'm a nerd, and I just make everything about fantasy, but like when he was really struggling, right? He's in the midst of the turnovers, And every play, he's having to hold his helmet to try to hear the play call, which is only inciting the crowd more. Like, it just looked like he was a normal human being in a frost giant, just like trying to fight like some sort of.
Well, did you hear the announcer? He said
out of him.
The announcer goes, he needs to stop putting his hands over his helmet because every time he does, the fans get even louder. I'm like, yeah, but you have to give yourself an attempt.
Yeah, you can't hear. What do you mean?
Yeah, you can't hear. Like, what do you want him to do? Like, not hear just so they don't get even louder? Like, that's the beauty of home field advantage, especially in a playoff game as we're seeing.
I just remember writing it. It's funny that like you just talked about South Carolina crowd because here are my notes. I just said like it just had to be so freaky for Jennings. Everything moving so fast, and Penn State. So much bigger, stronger. I mean, that Rojas guy coming off the edge. You kidding me? Danny Rojas. Have you looked at a picture of Danny Rojas? He is beautiful. Stunningly
like as
good.
Beautiful as Danny Rojas from the
I think he's better looking than I think it's Tony Rojas. Sorry, Tony Rojas is the Penn State.
Yeah, let's say Danny Rojas is the
yes.
The actor.
No, but like remember, this guy's huge. He's like 6'4", 6'5", or whatever. And he is just stunningly good looking. You're not expected to be this tall.
You trying to find a picture of him?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Kid. He's a good looking kid. Look
at that guy. But like that guy is
here.
the freak coming off the edge. Like that guy's like 6'5", in your face.
Look at his long ass arms too.
Yeah, long ass arms. What was the other linebacker that had the badass play to Luca where he tips it up to himself, picks it up? Look. Again, Penn State gets bonuses to all their roles in the cold. SMU does not. SMU is under strength. Like, so it's just an ass beating.
The difference between last night, the same thing that we saw last night, we saw now. There's a talent gap, and SMU did a great job, and their boosters did a great job of raising money to get to the ACC, of raising money to get some players. Indiana did the same thing. They rebuild their roster. They bring in Signetti, but still. In a playoff game and a game where these teams have multiple weeks to prepare for a game like this, and when you're that physically outmatched, you have to play a perfect football game, and you're on the road, and there's elements involved too when it comes to weather. You have to be perfect. You are at such a disadvantage if you're SMU, especially with how cold it was, which is why you and I both said, I'm thinking a lot of people said like 7.5 points is not enough for this game. Penn State is going to will their way to dominate and outmuscle them.
I didn't think it would be this bad. I knew they would cover, but I did not think it was going to be this dominant.
I knew they were going to struggle to score.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, we picked Penn State big, but I'm still just admitting that I didn't think because I'm someone who obviously, you know this from listening to the show. I'm someone who's always felt the talent gap can be overrated, right? You look at a team like Michigan last year, they had a dominant undefeated national championship run where they barely made that 50% BCR, right? I'm a believer that in football.
Yeah, but they developed that talent. I know. I'm
just explaining how this is a bad day for me and all of my philosophies because it just feels like they've all gotten thrown in my face the last couple of days because I am someone who believed that the whole can be greater than the sum of its parts. And that, like, I legitimately thought Indiana was going to play Notre Dame very close and sneak out a win. I didn't think, again, we picked Penn State to cover, but I didn't think SMU, when it looked like they didn't even belong in the same field. I didn't think it would look like a frost giant rampaging through a little town of halflings. It's just, sometimes you just have to concede the day. And right now, with my beliefs, and it is impossible to argue against hypotheticals like this team would have done better, that team would have. It's impossible to argue against that in light of how these two games have played out. So I tip my hat. I tip my hat to all the SEC boys and all the Ole Miss and South Carolina and Alabama fans. Today's your day. I concede. Enjoy
so
it.
Let's just say, right now, let's fast forward 340 days from now, and we get put in the same exact situation. Would you still put in SMU and Indiana over a 3-loss SEC team? Are we going to learn from this mistake? Or are we going to say the same thing that we said last year? Oh, this team can't be penalized for going to the conference championship. Oh, this team went 11-1 in the Big Ten.
I mean, I think it's so we
are we just having a pity party now, or are we actually going to make a
no. We know that this playoff system is only around for one more year before they'll likely rework it in 2026. 2 years of data is pretty good to pull from and see kind of what's going on. I think it's impossible to say that this is not a massive win for strength of schedule believers. Because I think if you are the playoff committee next year, there will be immense pressure to weigh strength of schedule much more heavily, even to the point where maybe you do the heavy lift of 3 losses over a 1-loss team because you think their schedule was that much harder and they're better. And I understand all the counter arguments because, again, I was behind a lot of those counter arguments, but those are going to ring hollow in light of, us building up to this playoff. This thing's supposed to be so much fun, so exciting, and just getting delivered to absolute just clown shows these first couple of games. It's
I think it's only going to get worse.
Here, but here's the thing.
Boise State and Arizona State get smoked.
I know exactly right.
And we granted those two a bye.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's even a bigger. Try to see the seeding aspect to me is even a bigger issue than who got in. The fact that those two teams got a bye is crazy.
The seeding is something that I think that will. I don't know if it can't change next year, but that's for sure going to change. Yes. I have no doubt in my mind the seeding will change. I think for next year, basically everything will be the same, except that they may measure strength of schedule highly. I still think the weird thing is the Big Ten and the SEC, regardless of quality of team to team, they still view themselves as essentially partners or on equal footing.
Yes.
And the Big Ten would go into open revolt if you had held out an Indiana team for a 3-loss team. If you'd held out an 11-1 Indiana, that's still just kind of a perfect storm of shit that you just have to hope doesn't happen again. I think going forward into 26, again, the 14-team setup that was gaining steam over the summer for 26 makes even more sense now, Aaron, where let's
just keep adding more teams. Let's just keep adding more.
Well, no, I think in this one we'd probably get rid of conference championships.
We said everything would be solved with 12, and it's still not solved. Adding 2 more, we're going to have the same discussion every year.
Wait, well, hold on now. It's still better with 12 than 4. Because now Penn State looks really badass. Notre Dame looks really badass. And they'll go play teams that got to buy, and we'll see if they're really badass. I don't think it's worse than it was with 4.
No, it's better.
Just whatever. But I'm saying this takes subjectivity out of it. It goes by conference standings. 4 SEC teams get in, 4 Big Ten teams get in, 2 ACC, 2 Big 12, and then if you want to do group of 5 or
why do we grant Big 12 and ACC 2 teams? Once again, I don't.
Well, you're giving them double. I don't think it's match money. You're giving them double.
This should not be an open invitation. And at the end of the day, guess what? We are working our way into an NFL model where it's going to be SEC versus Big Ten. And it's going to be AFC versus NFC.
See, that's what I like about the 14-team playoff, though, is that it maintains the other conferences. I think the other conferences are good for college football.
But don't give them 2 teams. Don't give them 2 teams.
You're getting 4 each, bro.
I don't give a damn. If they're the best teams, are the best teams.
Double.
Problem.
If you're going by strength of conference, you're saying you're double. You're giving yourself double 4-2. That's a big gap.
We're just proving it right now. The ACC doesn't even have 1 good team this year. The Big 12 doesn't even have 1 good team this year.
Hold on now.
So why are you gonna give them another one? Why are you gonna give them another one? Okay, well,
to try to keep ACC, college football together.
In a matter of 8 hours, the ACC can not only get eliminated from the playoff, they may well get embarrassed. Why are we just going to give them 2 teams? Give them 1. I'll give them 1. I'll give them 1. I'll get the Big 12 one. I'll get the ACC one.
Well, then
that's it.
Then you're right. Then we get to the SEC Big 10 future because I don't think they would agree to
that. But do they have a say? With how powerful the Big 10 and SEC are, do you think they actually have a say? Do you think Sankey gives a shit what the ACC and Big 12 think?
I think ideally, I think that would be completely acceptable to the SEC and Big Ten. Getting 4 teams in, keeping college football together, maybe representing playoff wins if you really think the Big 12 and ACC are that bad. Like, yeah, I think I'm thinking about things that can be realistically agreed to. If the SEC and the Big Ten really want to play big dick and say we get 4 bids, you get 1, and then we'll do a bunch of at larges, like,
yes, they will.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't know that
because what's the SEC saying right now? Because what's Greg Sankey saying right now? Greg Sankey saying that right now we have 2, if not 3 teams that should have gone in over both SMU and Indiana. Yeah. So why is he going to give up spots to teams he believes are inferior?
He wouldn't. I mean,
he wouldn't be. So he's going to be conceding to at least 2 of those teams are going to be at home while SMU gets to go above us after what we just saw right now.
You'd have 4 in this hypothetical. You'd have 4 teams in automatically.
So I'm saying two would be out. So, he's still sitting back saying that in this situation, South Carolina and Alabama or South Carolina and Ole Miss will be sitting at home while SMU automatically gets to get in because ACC gets 2 teams.
Again, I don't think on a year-to-year basis the gap is that large, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we should just go to the 2-week super conference. I guess that's what y'all want.
Let's pull up high school rankings for recruiting. Where was the first ACC team that showed up in the rankings? After 10?
Yeah, this is the worst part of the sport. You're now arguing playoff spots based on high school recruiting rankings.
I'm not arguing. You just said that you don't think the talent.
I'm trying to advocate for a system that keeps college football together.
But it's not. It's not fair. It's not together. High school kids know this. Kids in the transfer portal know this. Everyone is flocking to the Big Ten and SEC.
Yeah,
you'd be an idiot not to.
11-1. You're also arguing an 11-1 Big Ten team should have gotten in over 9-3 SEC team this year.
I'm not. I do not see a world in which that could not have happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, look, man. Again, I feel a bit defeated right now. Like I can't argue. I'm really excited for Notre Dame, Georgia. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm pretty fascinated to see the Boise Penn State thing. I mean, Penn State really looks like they're coming into their own. They seem like a pretty bad stylistic matchup for Boise. Like I feel like Boise, of course, the only thing you can hang your hat on there is that Oregon game 1. But that's so long ago. And again, stylistically, like Penn State just feels better positioned to be able to stop the run. I think we'll see, but yeah, I guess
we said it though. It's funny. Penn State got the better of their routes compared to Oregon. It's hilarious.
Wait, what?
Penn State got to be at home, play a home playoff game.
Yeah. I know, but dude, whatever. I mean, again, the seeding is the seeding. The seeding is so obviously wonky that it's going to change.
I'm not here. I'm not bitching anymore. I'm just saying, like, good for Penn State. They're taking advantage of 2 warm-up games.
Yeah. They do look really good, though. They do look really good, dude. What? I mean, do you think Penn State's capable of winning a national championship?
Yes.
I agree.
I think Penn State is more than capable of getting to the national championship, and then from there it's 1 game.
I would say this is maybe what is going to save this playoff.
Their side of the bracket is so easy. Their side of the bracket is not difficult. So then it just comes if you can win that game after Boise, whether it's Notre Dame or Georgia, which I think they can win either of those games. Then it comes down to, can you win a natty from there in a 1-game situation?
I'm saying one thing I will say about these first 2 playoff games is I firmly believe that both the winners are capable of winning a national championship, which is not always the case. Again, it still does not feel as if there's 1,000-pound gorilla in the room, like especially with like maybe if Carson Beck's not hurt, you're just out here outright favoring Georgia, no questions asked. But no, it'd be Oregon anyway. But
I would heavy favor Georgia on this side of the bracket if Carson was healthy.
You'd heavy favor them over Notre Dame?
Not heavy, but they would be favorites. I think right now they're underdogs.
Yeah, now they're like one half underdog. They'd probably be like a 2.5, 3.5 favorite, probably if Carson played.
I agree. And I think they'd probably be about the same versus Penn State too.
But even then, right? There's still like, again, so the winners of these first two games, I do believe are national championship caliber. We'll see. But they're going to have to play the good ones eventually. And we'll get good on good. And hopefully the finish of this 12-team playoff will make up for the start of it. Because, yeah, I mean, again, it's just a bit of a disastrous outcome for the college football playoff and kind of for college football as a whole here, because a lot of the fans that were most pissed off by some of the choices, look, college football definitely has a concentration of its fans in the Southeast, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of its most passionate, most loud fans were already pissed off, and now they are completely empowered to say, I told you so, and this team sucks and nobody's good except if you play in the SEC. So enjoy those days. Santa Claus, chill out, dude. Santa Claus, chill out, dude.
This dude got some hits.
You want to hear something funny? I had that. Does that have a microphone that you can sing and he talks?
No, he's just dancing.
I used to have one in college that we had in our apartment for years. Yeah. It looked exactly like that, but you could you had a microphone, and when you would talk, he would move his mouth and you could do it, freak out people at parties and stuff. Hey, great day to be a Penn State fan. Again, like last night, one thing I was thinking about, it's pretty insane.
The playoffs were made for you, Penn State, and you got to
and they did.
Go, James Franklin.
It really was
James Franklin to a 10-year extension, TBob. Give my man an extension. Well, the highest paid coach in America. Let's go.
Again, are you going to do better than James Franklin? Like who is at Penn State? Also,
they should flip Ryan Day and James Franklin. Let James go to Ohio State. Send Ryan Day to Penn State. See what happens.
Nothing changes. It all stays exactly the same. It's kind of what I feel would happen. One thing I did think was pretty cool for Notre Dame fans last night is thinking about the fact that those fans saw them lose to Northern Illinois earlier that year in that stadium. And then a few months later, they're treated to a dominant home playoff victory. And, Penn State fans have been through a lot of shit on big stages, a lot of disappointment in whiteout games and whatnot. And here you go, man. The fans brought it today. They were absolutely a massive impact in the game, and they were rewarded with a big time win.
This is true.
I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait till Alabama claims a lot of people saying Alabama's on the edge of claiming a national championship for this season, since they were denied a chance.
I'll be on the call for their bowl game, so I'll make sure I ask them when I'm down in Tampa their feelings on everything going on right now.
Yeah, kind of a weird game.
Say what you want about. Say what you want. Like, this is SMU. It's a play. Guess what? At the end of the day, it's a playoff win. That is a big win. It's a big win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I don't care who it's against.
But unfortunately, this has just been a real bummer of a first thrust here. Objectively. There's no other way around.
Your wife says every night. You get to.
And she says objectively, which is the worst part. It's like I'm not even trying to be mean, just being objective. First thrust making me fucking sense.
I'm gonna need you. She gives you a little slap across the face. You gotta step it up.
No, I just stop, turn over, and cry into my pillow a little bit and fall asleep while she scrolls Instagram, and I can feel the passive aggressive anger just wafting off of her.
She just scrolls IG with the magic wand that she has to fucking plug into the wall because you can't buy the jerky one.
Okay. First off, I've had that for many years. Okay, and I bought it at a time when the wireless ones are very expensive. Eventually, we will get a wireless one. Okay? Sheesh.
Oh God.
Hey guys, huge thank you for everybody hanging out. So hit the like button, sub to the channel, guys. Please, just whatever. Sub it, share it with your friends. We're going live after every game. We still got a couple more. Hopefully, we'll have some exciting ones coming up. But until then, we love you, and we'll see you for another reaction snap soon in a few hours.